All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is Rob here. And today, as promised, it's not quite the 19th, but it's close enough. Today, we are going to be talking about Amazon's The Wheel of Time. Season 1 just dropped. The first 3 episodes, as they always do. Future episodes will be on Fridays, so reviews will be on Fridays. Well, probably Thursday nights if they keep dropping them like at 6 o'clock on Thursday. But this is a show that I know at least one of my subs has been really excited about. And I've been excited about it by extension because of their excitement and them getting me into this world where I read the first book, The Eye of the World, in the last month. And I really dug it. I'm really excited to dive into the second book. And I know that there are a lot of people that have been waiting for this because, there are 14 books. This came out a long time ago. Kind of like Game of Thrones. And since Game of Thrones has been over, and I only say this because we've had kind of a high fantasy void in our lives. If you like this kind of thing, since that show left. And so here we are with the premiere episodes of The Wheel of Time. And these are my first impressions / review of this show. So if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, if this is your first time, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back as always. If you are though, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to join the conversation and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out with motivation. All right, so yeah, notifications, all that, blah, 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 blah. So, we got to talk about this because, like I said, this is really fresh in my mind, having just read this. And for anybody out there, right, they always say the book is better than the movie, the book is better than the show. And so far, I still, that tradition, that cliched saying is still very true. When Game of Thrones first came out, I watched the first season and then started reading the books. And as not every show can be like that though, where the first season is really pretty accurate to the book. And you had 10 episodes, and they were all like an hour long. But it wasn't the longest book either. It wasn't like this. Game of Thrones book 1 was not like this. So you've got 8 episodes of this to fill an 813 page, not counting the glossary, book. So my first thing is they've got to cover a lot of ground in 8 episodes. Try to come to of completion, as most seasons do. You have arcs that have to begin and end, and it usually starts up something new for the second season. And so, again, I would highly recommend after, the season is over and you really want more, go and get the book. You can get these books for cheap. And what I also did when I couldn't read, I was doing the Audible thing, and honestly, the Audible for this book, the audio version of this book is fantastic. It helped me get through a lot of this, because this is very dense. But there's a lot of things going on in here. And there was a lot of things I was excited to see show up on this show. It also took me a while reading this to care about most of the characters. Kind of like what I'm experiencing here a little bit. With some exceptions. Some characters I like right away because of what I've seen in here. Some characters are taking me a little bit longer to like more than it took me in the book. So, let's jump in to what my initial thoughts are about this. So like I said, read the books. I do really like the intro that shows up in the second episode of this series. I like that. I like the main titles quite a bit. One of the things that concerned me is the aging up of the characters. Now, if you're not a book reader, you're not going to know this. You're not going to, unless you've been doing a bunch of research. In the books, these characters read to be in like their late teens, kind of. And in this, they're more mature. And for me, part of this reads this kind of feels like these are older versions, like versions of the characters that would show up in like the books later on, how they would be later on in the book series, more than they are now. So what I had to do really quickly, if I wasn't going to, I didn't want to nitpick and tear apart all the things that were different. I just had to really put my mind in this. This is an adaptation. This is not a perfect rendering of this book. Like I said, they have a lot to get to, and they are jamming a lot in each episode, especially that first episode. And I think that as far as first episodes go, this one is a little rushed. There's a little bit too much in here. One of the things I did really like was seeing the perspective of the battle at the village. In the book, you don't see the battle at the village. You only experience what Rand experiences. And I thought that that was really cool, getting to see what is only described to you in the book. But right from jump, there's a lot of things missing. And throughout these 3 episodes, where they go, like I was thinking how far into the book they are by the 3rd episode. And there's a ton of things missing. Ton of things missing. And I feel like those things that are missing would add a great deal of enjoyment to fans, to future fans of the show, people that they want to like this series. They're not absolutely necessary, and maybe they were cut out for budgetary reasons or time or both. I'm not going to say what they are because I don't want to spoil it for people who do plan on reading the books. But there's a bunch of little things that I really would have liked, especially a moment in Shadar Logoth that really I was looking forward to. I was also really looking forward to seeing Tom Merlin, the Gleeman, show up way sooner than he does in this. That's my favorite character from the first book, and he doesn't show up until the 3rd episode instead of the 1st episode. Again, I think it's all about trying to get the plot moving, because this is a journey, and you want to kind of keep the pace up. You want to don't have, like in the book, how sometimes it takes a really long time to get to certain things happening. They want to keep this clipping at a speed that an audience can keep up with, instead of going, oh my gosh, when is something going to happen? And so in order to do that, there's sacrifices that have to be made. And full character arcs are gone. Some of the characters' arcs are changed. The boys especially, they are more mature feeling to me in this, and I know that there's been some complaints about Rand, but I really don't see it. I actually like Rand a lot. In fact, Rand is one of the only characters that I look at on the page and I see the character, and I go, yeah, he looks like Rand. Nynaeve also, they do a very good job with Nynaeve in this. Lan, in my head, I for some reason I just saw Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. The actor in this that plays Lan, I want more of him, more, and I think that that's something that kind of is all over this. Is I want more of all the characters. But we're speeding along, and we're kind of missing a lot of those beats that I wanted the characters to have. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not developing. There is character development throughout all 3 of these episodes. And it is hitting a lot of important beats it's just getting there much faster than I would have liked. But that's more personal taste than anything else. One character, and I was talking about this with someone not too long ago, that felt rather disappointing, and I'm surprised to be saying this, is Rosamund Pike's main character of Moiraine. I think she's great in the first episode. She is fantastic. She really gets to go full on Aes Sedai. And by the way, I'm talking about this as if you've seen this, so if you need me to like tell you the whole plot of this thing, I'm just not going to do it. This is for people who have seen this. So we're jumping right in, and also in fact, hey, I'm doing what the show is doing. I'm trying to keep my videos tighter. So we're going to be we're jamming a lot in to a tinier space than normal, especially when we're talking about 3 episodes. Moiraine in the book, and again, I hate to compare it to the book, right? I know that there's got to be reasons for why they wanted to do this. Maybe the actress wanted to do this, but in the book, the Aes Sedai that is Moiraine, she is a bad mamma jamma. She is tough. She is powerful. And she is, to me, just like unstoppable. Whenever something needs to happen, when things look the worst and you think, how are they going to get out of this? She raises the ante every single time to get things done. But I feel like they really, and maybe she's a little OP in the book, but in this they really, like after the first episode, they make her feel very weak. She takes a lot of damage, and we don't really see that in the book. She is kind of an unstoppable force of like always has a trick up her sleeve, and in this she just feels a lot weaker after that first episode. And she was never weak in the book, and that is something that I was just a little bit more disappointed with that than leaving out things that I really wished were in here that were like really cool kind of moments, that like fan favorite type of moments in this. I do think that they nail pretty much the characters for the most part. Again, because I feel like they're like Matt, Rand, and Perrin are aged up. Perrin, who in this version has a wife in the first episode, they don't feel as naive and innocent that they really feel like in the books. They really feel like they are boys, and by the end of the first book, they have become men. And in this, they feel like they're men. They're about to really become men. They've done some things. They've slept with girls. In the first book, man, they barely touched a girl, man. It's all still like like especially Rand is way different with the ladies in the book than the show. Because they're more mature. I don't know. It's fine, but I don't know. But let's see, what else do we got here? The Trollocs. I think the Trollocs looked really, really cool. But I was trying to put my finger on what it was missing, and I feel like not really missing, but just it's really wanting to be like, it's not. There's so many influences, because this is like a violent show, but it's not so violent or filled with things that you would see in Game of Thrones. It's still trying to be a little bit more PG-13 than TVMA. Which is fine. Not everything has to be that hardcore. In fact, the book, to me, feels pretty tame compared to some of the things that we're seeing in this. I feel like the show is a little more violent than what I read in the book. And I was actually surprised about that in the book. I actually was like, wow, this is kind of restrained a little bit. So they get to have a little more opportunity to hit you with a lot more kind of visceral, medieval people's heads getting cut off and stabbed and stuff like that. That's all up in here. But that first episode really, I don't know. I was a little bit worried after the first episode because they were trying to get to things so fast. But it did somehow end about the way that where about in the book I thought it would. But it felt pretty standard, but they were trying to show the world a little bit. But again, to be fair, in the beginning of the book, it is a pretty contained section where they're in this one place. It's not until they get out and start their journey and really a chase that the show gets going. And in episode 2, this show really gets going, but still jamming in a lot. We are like, it's like if Frodo left the Shire and the orcs were right on his butt. Right? That's what that feels like. And I appreciated that in episode 2. This really did feel like a chase. I did really up the tension and enjoyment I had. I was a lot more engaged. And while they were knocking things out one at a time, fast succession from the books, including getting to where Perrin and the wolves, cutting out a whole character from that arc, but still getting to the point of the whole thing with the wolves that's becoming a bigger and bigger part of the show already. I really enjoyed them getting to that, at least having that in here. I liked that after they left Shadar Logath, which was also a pretty cool area to be at. Again, missing a huge, really cool thing in that part. But like them separating, keeping the group the way it is in the book, with Matt and Rand going their way, Perrin and Egwene going theirs, and then Moiraine and Lan going their way, all separated and trying to find each other, just like in the book. I really liked that. I also really liked Nynaeve. I feel like Nynaeve is the one character, for sure, that feels the most accurate straight up and down. Right from the page, right to this character. The actress is doing a really good job. I really like that. And Egwene, too. I think Egwene is pretty accurate, too. See, now Matt, on the other hand, I feel like Matt isn't as, because he's aged up, he does have a snark to him, but he doesn't have it's more playful, and I feel like Matt's more serious, and they've given him more of an arc about his family, and especially his sisters, that's in this, that they talk about a lot. That's also a big thing that they've added to his motivation. So he feels more serious than the Matt in the books. So I feel like I'm a little disappointed in that, but it's still there. All the heart of the characters are still there. Perrin and his deal with the wolves is all really interesting. And the nightmares they start having, those were really well done too. I really loved Rand reaching down his throat and pulling out a bat. Now in the books, it's a bunch of rats that have their backs broken. I'm not exactly sure why they switched from rats to bats, but potato, it don't really matter. It was still somebody pulling an animal out of their throat. It was pretty great. Getting to see the monster too and how that's affecting them. That was really great too. Also, really getting right to the point of and handling should we even trust the Aes Sedai? Right from jump. You have Moiraine just saying, these things are happening because of you. If you don't leave with me right now, all the people that you love here are gonna die. And immediately, quickly, in the next episode, them having their difficulties with, what are the true motivations behind, her helping us? Is she really helping us, or are we just pawns in some bigger game? I really liked that they got that started. Like, I was glad that this wasn't something that they were just going to leave out and then find out later down the road, like, dun dun dun, this is what's really going on. There is that great kind of paranoia of, You know, choosing, not knowing if Moiraine is really on the up and up, and having that gray area, and then once the characters are separated, still trying to get back to the people that they care about, and might be, you know, even though these people might in the end want to hurt them after, you know, their usefulness is at an end. The Children of the Light that are in the second episode, I really liked their introduction. I especially liked the Questioner and his rings of the Aes Sedai that he's killed. I definitely like this version of the Children of the Light more than the book version because I feel like they're a little more palatable. In the books, and you're supposed to dislike them. They're horrible. They're horrible. But I'm not like I like that they're giving them a bit more interesting personality-wise, especially with the main questioner. Other than just what was in the book, a lot of that was just real in-your-face, like, what's the, like, fervor and real just what I don't like about a lot of, like, really hardcore religious people. That kind of, you know, I don't know how to put it right now, but that's what I'm thinking. Also, what's really impressive is the cinematography. I'm not sure where they filmed this show, but I thought that was really great. The understated score, I like that it doesn't have a music that overtakes the scenes. I like that it hits its moments and beats when it needs to, but it also just kind of quietly plays and in the tone of it all. I thought that they did a really good job musically. And I do like in the third episode where we get to see Nynaeve's back, you know, like how she escaped. We do get the introduction of Tom Merrilin, the Gleeman, who I really, really like. We also get to the traveling people. Like, we're really clipping along. And the part in episode 3 that really got me was the barmaid trap. Like, they really cast a very likable actress. She's playing this really, really well. And when she does the turn on them, I honestly had dropped my guard. I shouldn't have, because there was a part in the conversation when she's asking questions, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I was more worried about something happening to her than her being a dark friend, and I really liked that it was a testament to the actress who made me believe, anyway, in the moment, that she was on the up and up. And when she wasn't, I really liked that. I really liked feeling like this show could surprise me and could lull me into that sense of, like, not knowing who you can trust. And this would be at least the introduction to dark friends, you know, the ones who work with the Dark One. And we end with the capture, I believe, of Loghain, the false dragon. At the very beginning of this series, we see the Aes Sedai tracking people down who claim to be the rebirth of the dragon, this guy who's supposed to, you know, the one who had the power and broke the world, you know, like all that stuff that's coming about again. I apologize for not discussing the overall plot of this show. Again, speaking to you guys as if you've seen this. Trying to make my video a little bit more concise and tight, again, especially since we're talking about 3 episodes. Now, when we go forward, and we're only talking about 1 episode at a time, I think that these will be a lot more, you know, concise, even more concise, and we'll be able to cover much more of what's going on, because I didn't want to make this like an hour-long video. I wanted to get kind of to the point of it. So, in the end, like right off the bat, the problems I have with it do not outweigh the enjoyment that I've been having of it. Are there tons of things left out? Yes. Do I understand why these things are left out? Yes. Would those things that are left out make the show better? Yes. But with solid performances, a great atmosphere, a really cool world that I am more and more, as each episode was going along, was getting more and more invested in despite knowing where we're headed. I really liked that because they were giving me just enough different things and giving some of these characters a little more motivation than maybe that's not in the books, and keeping some things, like playing a little bit closer to the chest, so that maybe some of the things that I know, maybe they're going to play around with those too. Now, whether those out in ways that I like, we'll see. We've got 5 more weeks of this to finish the 8-episode season, so we'll be finishing this sometime in December. If you liked this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, this is Rob saying have a great night. We will be back next Friday with more Wheel of Time. Appreciate you watching, and I hope this video didn't suck too bad. Because I haven't really made a lot of videos lately. Bye.